Manager of IWPG LA branch, and I will be the MC of today's event. The host of this conference, IWPG, is an international NGO with 113 branches in 115 countries, working with 548 cooperative organizations in 65 countries. IWPG works with women all around the world to bring peace that the world desires. Countless people in the world are still suffering from conflict and war. IWPG has taken multifaceted approaches to build an infrastructure of peace so that precious lives are protected from war. IWPG agrees with the purpose of the September 18 World Peace Summit to facilitate practical discussions on the institutionalization on peace, and has been participating in this conference every year to host the International Women's Peace Conference since 2014. Many distinguished guests and leaders are here with us at the 2023 IWPG International Women's Peace Conference. Today, we plan to discuss peace education, a culture of peace, and institutionalization of peace, the main initiatives of IWPG. First, I would like to introduce the distinguished guests here with us today. When each person is introduced, please give them a warm round of applause. First, the First Lady of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, Maria de Fatima Afonso Villanova, is in attendance today. Minister of State for Gender and Culture Affairs of Uganda, Mutuzo Peace Regis, is in attendance today. Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare of South Sudan, Aya Benjamin Libo Worrell, is in attendance today. Eurydice Medeiros, Minister of Ministry of Youth and Sports, Sao Tome and Principe, are in attendance today. Thank you. Please forgive us for not being able to call on each and every one of you due to time constraints. Please give a big round of applause to everyone gathered here today to realize a world peace. Now, we will invite Chairwoman of International Women's Peace Group, Ms. Yoon Hyun-suk, for her opening remarks. Chairwoman Yoon is collaborating in solidarity with female leaders and NGOs all around the world to conduct various peace projects. She is also spreading the message of peace through multifaceted activities and campaigns in support of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. Now, let's invite Chairman Yoon to her opening remarks with a big round of applause.
Greetings, I am Yoon Hyun-suk, the chairwoman of IWPG. I would like to express my gratitude to all the peace-loving families who have gathered here in Incheon, Republic of Korea, overcoming the difficult times of the pandemic with unwavering passion for peace. This year marks the 9th anniversary of the September 18th World Peace Summit, and it is also the 10th anniversary of the founding of
지속 가능한
IWPG,
평화를
making
위한
today's event
여성의
even more
다각적
meaningful.
역할을
I hope
논의하고자
that the
마련한
2023 International
2023
Women's Peace
세계 여성 평화
Conference, designed to
컨퍼런스가
discuss the
여러분의 고견에
multidimensional
힘입어
role of
한층
women
더
in sustainable
풍성해지기를
peace,
기대합니다.
will be enriched with your valuable
세상에
insights.
평화가
If
없다면
there is no
우리의
peace in the
일상도
world,
없고
our daily
우리가
lives cease
누리던
to
모든
exist, and
것들이
everything we have
폐허와
worked for
잿더미가
turns
됩니다.
into ruins and ashes.
그리고
Recognizing the
국제법의 실효성이 약화되고
limitations
이미
of
그
current
기능을
international law
상실한 지
in
오래된
achieving true
가운데
peace,
전
it is
세계적으로
imperative that we
지속 가능한
establish a
평화를
system
보장하는 제도가
guaranteeing
마련되지
global sustainable
않는다면
peace.
그 누구도
Without such a
전
system,
세계
no
어떤
nation
국가도
can truly be free from the
전쟁으로부터
threat of
자유롭지
war.
못할 것입니다. 따라서 우리는
Therefore, we must
하루속히
make every
전쟁을
possible effort,
원천적으로
mobilizing
예방하고
all means of our
평화를
disposal
유지하는
to work
시스템을
towards a
확충하기 위해
worldwide effort
가능한
to
모든
prevent war
방법을
and
동원하여
secure
전
peace
지구적
as
차원의
soon as
노력을
possible.
해야 합니다. IWPG는
IWPG has
세상에
been
필요한
actively
평화를
engaged
이루기
in
위해
various activities to
2016년
raise
HWPL이
awareness of the 10
지구촌
articles
전쟁
and
종식
38
평화
clauses
선언문
of the
10조
Declaration of
38항을
Peace
전
and
세계
Cessation of War,
여성이 인식할 수 있도록
DPCW,
다양한 활동을
proclaimed by
펼쳐오고 있으며
HWPL in
세계
2016
여성들과
to be
연대하여
recognized by women
다각적인 평화
worldwide.
사업을
We are
시행하고 있습니다.
implementing multidimensional peace
즉,
projects in
오늘
collaboration with
컨퍼런스의
women
세
all
가지
over the
메인
world.
세션의 주제와
Today's
같이
conference focuses on
교육과
education,
문화,
culture, and
그리고 제도의
institutional
측면에서
aspects
활동을
in line
더욱
with the
집중하고
themes of the
있습니다.
three main sessions.
또한
We
전
also
세계
seek to
여성단체와
expand
다양한
voluntary
시민사회와의
participation
파트너십을
and
통해
cooperation
보다
through
더 넓은
partnership with
영역으로
women's
자발적인
organizations
참여와
and
확장을
diverse
도모하고
civil
있습니다.
society groups.
오늘 컨퍼런스에서
In today's
이처럼
conference,
각
we will discuss the
영역에서
role of
평화를
women in
달성하기
achieving
위한
peace in various
여성의
fields.
역할에 대해 논의하려고 합니다. 지금까지
Building
이룬
on the
성과들을 토대로
achievements we have
앞으로
made
우리는
so far,
어떤 다양한
how
힘을
can we
발휘할 수
exert
있을까요?
diverse efforts to achieve
각
peace?
여성이 평화의 실현의
We
주체가
will
되게
explore
하는
these three
교육,
areas:
사회와
education
조직에서
to empower
평화가
each woman
일상이
as an
되도록
agent
하는
of
문화적
peace,
접근,
cultural approaches
그리고
to making
제도를
peace
통한
a part of
평화의
daily life
지속성을
in a
확보,
society and
이 세 가지에
organizations,
대해
and
오늘
ensuring the
함께 논의하려고 합니다.
sustainability of peace through
그런데
institutions.
계획만 있고
However,
실제로 이룬
planning
것이
alone
없다면
without
안
actual
되겠죠?
implementation is
우리는 그
insufficient.
누구보다도
Let us pursue the work of
지혜롭게
peace
인내와
with
사랑의
wisdom,
마음으로
patience,
평화의
and a
일을
heart of love.
해나갑시다. 그리고
I
오늘
hope that the
컨퍼런스를
lively
통해
discussions
이루어지는
and sharing
활발한
taking
논의가
place at today's
하루빨리
conference
실생활에
will yield
적용될 수
results that can
있도록
be
그
applied to our
결과물이
daily
되도록
lives
우리가
as soon
노력합시다.
as possible.
이
May
자리에서
you and
보고
I
듣는
gain
모든 것들을
ideas and
통해
wisdom for
저와
the
여러분이
realization of
평화
peace
실현의
through
아이디어와
everything we
지혜를 얻을
hear
수
and
있기를
see
기대합니다.
here. It has been
HWPL이
7 years since
DPCW를 공표한 지도
HWPL
어느덧
first
7년이
proclaimed the
되었습니다.
Declaration of Peace and
전 세계
Cessation of
여성
War.
모두가
All women
DPCW에
around the
담긴
world
평화의
must recall
정신을
the spirit of
상기하며
peace
보다
contained
나은
in the
질서를
DPCW
구축하기 위해
and implement the
계획하고
plans and
약속한
promises
것들을
we have made
실천해
to
나갑시다.
establish a better order of peace.
우리가 소망하던
Let us
평화로운
create the
세상을
peaceful world
우리
we have
손으로
longed
만들어
for
갑시다.
with our own hands.
그 모든
I am
노력들이 쌓여
confident
힘을
with our
발휘한다면
efforts, when
내가
accumulated
사는 이
and
시대에
exerted, will
전쟁을
cease wars
종식하고
and achieve
지속 가능한
sustainable
평화를
peace in this
달성할 것을
era.
확신합니다. 우리는
We are
자유와
one in
사랑과
freedom,
평화
love,
안에서
and peace.
하나입니다.
We are one.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Yoon, for your message of hope toward women working for peace. Let's give her another big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairman Lee will be entering soon. So we ask for your patience at this time. How is everyone doing? Good. Thank you for your patience while we wait for Chairman Lee to be entering soon. In the meantime, please feel free to take pictures with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairman Lee Man-hee, the host of the September 18th World Peace Summit, is now entering. Everyone, please rise and let's greet him with a warm round of applause. At this time, we will hear from Chairman of HFPL, Lee Man-hee. Let's all welcome him with a loud round of applause.
예, 여사 여러분들
Yes,
안녕하십니까?
hello,
반갑습니다.
women around the world.
다 앉으세요.
Please all be seated.
우리는 하나는 문화 세계 평화 강복이라는 타이틀 아래서
Have become one under the
아시죠?
name of Heavenly Culture, World Peace,
그렇습니다.
Restoration of Light.
해외에 나갔을 때도
When we went overseas, there were a lot of women and women leaders who came together, and I had the opportunity to meet all these women during these conferences. And today, I see that there are so many of you in attendance, and for that, I want to say thank you. Under the title of peace, let us become one. Men, women, peace does not pertain to only one gender or sex. It's not something that is far-fetched in the future, but it starts from your family, from your schools. That is how peace will peace will start. For a country to be done well, the citizens have to do well in order for the government to reign well. If there are issues within the country, then that country's citizens are the victims. Therefore, we need to cooperate in order for the politicians to carry out their work well. And therefore, what we need to do is fix the wrongs or fix the things that need to be fixed. The biggest issue is security. And so, through peace, we get security. This will be done well if you put your efforts. From the youth to the elders, everyone needs to become one under peace and one under love. If we do that, wouldn't this all be successful? There is a saying in Korean where it says, "Come together in one heart for one will." So I hope the women here become together in one heart, one will, and become a light to the world. Yes, so in this world of darkness, there are so many chaotic things. Therefore, we need to be even bigger in light and come together as one and put effort even greater than the darkness. Our International Women's Peace Group must become a light in the world, and that is how the world will recognize us. I know that the chairwoman visits the UN very often, and she leaves a very good impression when she does visit. Therefore, these types of work, I hope, will continue so you become a light in the world. You have so many numbers compared to the men. There's so many more women, so you must help us. God, when He created human or man, it says He created man and women. Therefore, we need to help one another, and when we do, all things will be done successfully under and in peace. I will conclude here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Lee, for your valuable remarks. Let's give Chairman Man-hee Lee once again another big round of applause for his compassionate speech. Chairman Man-hee Lee of HFPL, who has just given us his welcoming remarks, has to leave the conference due to other schedules, but he'll be staying with us just for a little bit. Next, we will take a photo to commemorate this event. We will shoot twice. First, we will shoot sitting straight. Everyone, please look at the camera in front of you and smile really big. We will now take the picture. Peace. Let's all say peace. Very beautiful. Next, we will all shout, "We are one." Hold up your index finger of your right hand like this and shout, "We are one" together. 1, 2, 3. We are one. Very beautiful. Thank you, everyone. We will continue with the 2023 International Women's Peace Conference at this time. Chairman Lee Man-hee of HWPL, who has just given us his welcoming remarks, has to leave the conference due to other schedules. Let's give him another big round of applause. Thank you, everyone. At this time, we will continue with the 2023 International Women's Peace Conference. What kind of work is IWPG doing to bring peace to all and pass it down as an eternal legacy to the future generations? We will now watch a video that introduces IWPG's peace activities.
Our precious lives and our daily lives can only be sustained within peace. There is no place that does not need peace. There is no one who does not need peace. IWPG works. IWPG strengthens the global partnerships that the world needs. IWPG urges for the international law that the world needs. IWPG provides the women's peace education that the world needs. IWPG establishes the peace culture that the world needs. IWPG brings peace that the world needs. The solidarity of responsible women. The International Women's Peace Group.
Thank you. Anyone can receive quality peace education provided by IWPG. and participate in activities to urge for the institutionalization of an international peace law. We look forward to protecting and sustaining our precious lives and livelihoods within peace through various activities. Next, we will hear from Her Excellency, First Lady of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, Maria de Fatima Afonso Villanova, who has prepared a speech to congratulate the hosting of the 2023 International Women's Peace Conference. Please give her a big round of applause.
Caras e caros conferencistas,
Ladies and gentlemen,
minhas senhoras e meus senhores, é com grande honra
I am
que
very
participo
pleased
na Cimeira
to
da Paz,
attend the
De
World
facto,
Peace
é com
Summit
grande
in this
entusiasmo que me
beautiful
associo
city
a
of
vós
Seoul.
neste evento. Aproveito a
Indeed, it
oportunidade
is with great
para me dirigir a
enthusiasm
esta
that I
magna
joined this
audiência.
event
Distintos
and take the
participantes,
opportunity to address
permitam-me
such
que
an amazing
comece por
audience.
agradecer aos organizadores pelo
Distinguished
convite que me foi
participants,
formulado
please allow
na
me
qualidade
first to
da
thank the
primeira-dama da
organizers
República
for
Democrática de
inviting
São Tomé
me
e Príncipe
as
a
First
participar
Lady
nesta
of
cimeira.
the Democratic
O
Republic
meu
of
país
Sao Tome
e o
and
seu povo
Principe
sente-se profundamente
to participate in this
honrados
summit.
com este sinal de simpatia e amizade. A paz
My
é
country
tema
and its
mundial
people are deeply
transversal,
honored by this mark of
pois
sympathy
envolve
and
não
friendship.
apenas as pessoas singulares,
Peace is a
mas
global and
igualmente
transversal
a nações.
issue because it involves
paz
not only the
transpõe,
persons but also
dentro
nations.
de outros temas,
Peace transcends,
situações de
among other
violência
themes, situations
doméstica,
of domestic
a
violence,
baseada
violence
no
based
género,
on the gender,
a pobreza,
poverty,
a
hunger,
fome,
the
as
consequences of
consequências
climate
das
change, and
alterações
armed
climáticas
conflicts.
e dos
It is a
conflitos
fact that
armados.
circumstances that
É
disturb
facto
the peace
que as
affect mostly women
circunstâncias
and
que
children.
perturbam a paz
So the time has come
afetam
for us to reverse
maioritariamente
this position of
mulheres e
women on
crianças.
issues of insecurity,
Portanto, é
conflict,
chegada a
and
altura
war.
de
Let us work
invertermos
together so
a
that
posição
women evolve
da
from
mulher
victors,
relativamente às
victims
questões de
for
segurança,
peacekeeping, and
conflitos
activists against
e
violence,
guerras.
insecurity,
Que
and
trabalhemos em
against
conjunto
conflicts. Let
para
women
que as
occupy
mulheres
high places that
evoluam
allow them
de
to leave
vítimas
positive
para
intervention in
mediadoras
this matter.
e
Ladies,
ativistas contra a
whenever
violência,
you are, wherever you are,
contra a
make sure of your
insegurança
abilities
e
and
contra
skills
os
as
conflitos.
educators, heads of
Que as
family,
mulheres ocupem
counselors,
lugares,
and peacekeepers. In
cimeiros que nos
short,
permitam
promote peace
ter intervenção
because only
positiva
from it we will be
nesta
able to have
matéria.
a better world.
Mulheres,
Commonly said,
onde quer que se
who
encontrem,
walks alone may
façam
even get
uso
there
das vossas
faster,
capacidades
but the one who goes with him
e competências
certainly go
enquanto
further.
educadoras,
So to
chefes de
conclude,
família,
I would like to
conselheiras
encourage
e mediadoras.
the International
Enfim,
Women's
promovam a paz, pois só
International
a
Women's
partir
Peace Group to continue
dela
the work they have
conseguiremos
done
mundo
for
melhor.
peace as it is,
Como é comumente dito,
and say
quem caminha sozinho
we are
pode
one.
até chegar, mas rápido. Mas aquele que, acompanhado, com certeza vai mais longe. Portanto, para terminar, gostaria de encorajar o Grupo Internacional de Mulheres para a Paz a continuar os trabalhos que tenham realizado em prol da paz e dizer: nós somos um.
We are
Contem
one.
comigo
Count on me
e
and
contem
count on
com
Sao
São
Tome
Tomé e
and
Príncipe
Principe
para a
for the
promoção da
promotion
paz
of sustainable
sustentável.
peace.
Muito obrigada
Thank you.
e bem-aja a todos.
God bless you all.
Thank you. Please give another big round of applause for First Lady, Her Excellency Maria de Fatima Afonso Villanova. other people who have also expressed their congratulations for the 2023 International Women's Peace Conference. At this time, we will listen to the congratulatory remarks of the Vice President of the Philippines, Sara Duterte, and Minister of Population, Social Affairs and Gender Equality of Madagascar, Her Excellency, Madame Princia Sofilera. Let's watch together the congratulatory videos sent from each country.
Assalamu alaikum. I extend my warmest greetings to the dedicated members and organizers of the International Women's Peace Group as you conduct the International Women's Peace Conference. Your organization continues to be a beacon of hope year after year, uniting women from diverse backgrounds to support the noble cause of global harmony. In gathering women leaders, specialists, and advocates for peace from diverse corners of the world, you amplify a powerful message. Peace is more than just the absence of war. It is about inclusiveness, equality, and communal growth. You highlight the transformative potential that women wield in constructing secure, resilient, and inclusive societies by showcasing the distinct viewpoints and roles that women play in fostering dialogue, peaceful conflict resolution, and mutual trust. May each and every delegate, speaker, and supporter continue to carry on this enthusiasm and energy, and may it cause ripple effects to spread across communities and boundaries. Now, more than ever, the world desperately needs your resilience, resolve, and vision. Let us combine our resources, magnify our voices, and forge the way toward a future that is peaceful and welcoming to all people. Lahat para sa Diyos, sa bayan, at sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Shukran.
The Ministry of Population, Social Protection, and the Promotion of Women would like to congratulate the International Women's Peace Group for organizing the International Women's Peace Conference as part of the celebration of the 9th anniversary of the World Peace Summit of the international organization Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light from September 18 to 20, 2023 in Seoul, South Korea. This initiative highlights the role of women and girls in peacekeeping and peace building. Indeed, by taking peace into their own hands, women begin to bring peace into their homes, communities, countries, and the world. Recent estimates indicate that there are some 3.5 billion women in the world. Thus, promoting women's participation in peacekeeping operations will help to ensure the equal and effective participation of women and men in peace building and security, prevent violence against women, and protect the fundamental rights of women and girls, and improve women's access to justice. Madagascar supports the objectives of these two important events. The Ministry of Population, Social Protection, and the Promotion of Women would be honored to participate in order to present the efforts that have already been undertaken to make Malagasy women citizens of peace, and to learn from the experiences of other countries in making Madagascar a nation of peace. Wishing you every success, please accept, Madame, my best regards.
Yes, thank you. In addition, despite the severe damage caused by the recent earthquake, a congratulatory message was sent by the Minister of Solidarity, Social Inclusion and Family of Morocco, Her Excellency Awatif Hayar, expressing her earnest desire for the realization of peace. On behalf of Minister Hayar, I will read the congratulatory message. She said this: "First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone for the support extended to the Kingdom of Morocco and for the widespread international sympathy towards our country following the earthquake that struck many regions. This reflects the significant standing that our nation holds as a symbol of peace and security on the international stage. I sincerely appreciate the invitation extended to me to attend this highly significant event, which aims to strengthen women's participation in the peace process and explore ways to establish and develop action plans for their enhanced involvement. I would like to once again express my thanks to the organizers and all the participants. As we embark on this important international gathering, I wish for its success, hoping that we can all overcome challenges and achieve all our objectives. Let us work together, both women and men, to contribute to the betterment of our society by promoting women's status and advancing their participation. I hope for a future filled with peace and prosperity. Thank you. We sincerely thank Her Excellency for sending us a letter to support our global family despite difficult circumstances. We hope that Morocco will recover quickly from the damage caused by the earthquake. Everyone, once again, please give a big round of applause to everyone who sent their congratulatory messages. Next, the Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare of South Sudan, Aya Benjamin Libo-Warel, will come forward to give a special speech on the necessity and urgency of sustainable peace. Please greet her with a big round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the Republic of South Sudan. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be speaking at this year's International Women's Peace Conference. We gather here today to share what we have, ranging from ideas roaming around in our minds to our real world experiences, all towards our visions of a more peaceful world. As South Sudanese, we have first-hand experiences of war. We know the consequences of conflict. It has broken families, communities, and the initial battling hope we had as a nation. People are displaced and subjected to violations which have serious effects on their mental health. This can affect the performance of the population if it's not well addressed. It manifests in every aspect of life and may contribute to cycles of conflict. Personally, I have an experience of losing my husband, disappearing without trace. I never had an opportunity to bury him, and I'm living with the burden. I'm aware that I'm not alone, but nobody deserves such a life. As a Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, I deal a lot with issues of widows and orphans who are left to take care of themselves because their mothers are not able to do so. The situation will only bring back conflicts if many of these children are not taken care of, including being sent to school. Despite all this, we as a nation, as a people, are not defined by the violence. We, especially the women of South Sudan, have been and will continue to be beacons of hope to South Sudanese. Today, we got thousands of South Sudanese and Sudanese fleeing from war in Khartoum, Sudan. Mainly women and children. Sudan has been a place for South Sudanese who fled the war and now they are forcefully being returning home. We call upon our neighbor Sudan, Khartoum, to resort to dialogue to resolve the conflict. If not, we are only adding more pain and suffering to our people. The peace we all want is not just the lack or absence of war. We do not define something as the lack of something. We define peace by the presence of justice and equality of opportunity for all. As women, I believe, and I believe you also do so, have the power to rebuild what the war has demolished. We tend to wounds, we nurture our children, and we sow the seeds of reconciliation within our borders. With women being given more opportunities, we have shown that we can bring fresh perspectives on situations and new ideas for solutions. We are not passive victims, but we are active agents of change. We know through experience that sustainable peace has to be built from the ground. We know we need to have safe spaces for our people to have dialogue, advocate for education and protection of all within our communities, giving our children a safe and optimal environment to begin building a better future for themselves and the country, especially our women. As South Sudanese women, we know that the journey to peace is not an easy one. We will have challenges that will not be easy to overcome. But a nation like ours have a resilient people. We have ideas that will not be stopped by adversity, and we will emerge victorious. And as we gather here today with women all over the globe, let us forge connections and share stories so that we can build a peaceful and prosperous world. May God bless you. I thank you.
Please give another big round of applause for Minister Aya Benjamin Libo-Warrell, who emphasized the need for peace. For sustainable peace, to set root in the world, all members of society must understand the need for peace through education. Because women are the caretakers of the children, our future generation, IWPG is training women to become peace lecturers so that they can spread the message of peace in their families and communities. Currently, 1,598 women from 74 countries have completed the Peace Lecture Training Education known as PLTE. The topic of the first session is peace education, which will become the strong foundation of sustainable peace. Let me introduce 3 speakers who will discuss women's peace education with us today. First, the Secretary General of National Commission of Mali for UNESCO, Kedia Mega Diallo. Former Minister of Gender, Family, Children, and the Elderly of Tunisia, Naziha Ravidi. And Lillian Benedict Masaki, Public Health Specialist of the Christian Social Service Commissions. Please greet them with a big round of applause. Firstly, Secretary General of National Commission of Mali for UNESCO, Kadia Mega Diallo, will start by explaining the importance and opportunity of women's peace education.
Welcome everyone, all the participants at the International Women Peace Conference. I am the Secretary General of the National Commission of Mali for UNESCO, an affiliate organization of the United Nations that focuses on science and education. I am very honored to be here to discuss women's peace education. Wars, chaos, and violence has always existed on the face of this earth. And ever since the global pandemic, women and other vulnerable groups have suffered from even severe have in the midst of global crisis. Those who have witnessed violence while growing up in a violent environment are easily harmed, both emotionally and physically. This suppression hinders the learning capabilities and social productivity of women and girls. This is why we must build peace and prevent conflicts through women's peace education. The Constitution of UNESCO clearly states the purpose of peace education in the first sentence. It starts with since wars begin in the mind of men, it's in the minds of men that the defense of peace must be constructed. Thus, peace starts in the mind of people. Political, economic agreements and treaties between states can only bring peace temporarily. For eternal peace, we need an intellectual, moral foundation on which we must build mutual understanding and knowledge. UNESCO is clearly aware of this. Joan Galton, the pioneer of peace education, have said three things: peace education, peace research, and peace activism must come together to continue to fight against social evil and break through the status quo and reach social change. Peace education is an important element that changes a culture of violence to a culture of peace. About the education of peace, if we do education of peace, we can contribute and enforces the link between the society, and we will be able to live together, and all the population can accept each other and become one. In Mali, there's a double crisis right now and instability between the different communities that should be like brothers, but actually there's a lot of conflict between them. So through the education, especially for the women, after all the traumas that have been occurred in Mali, if we fight with peace education, then we can bring peace in the life. In the future, I believe that peace education that will be given to the women and the children can create more opportunities and also help armed people to live more together. And also all the nations should change the politics and integrate a peace and also create like peace education to prevent all attacks and wars. In Mali, in the north parts, there's armed groups that are occupy the north. And Mali is about twice as big as France. Its capital is Bamako. But because of the war, the people have moved from the north to the south, and mainly to the capital. So it counts 2,929 people. Now, this context is underpinned by the number of factors, including the poor understanding of peace agreements by a significant proportion of the population, including women and young people. But now the problem of governance and the fact that women and girls and children don't participate in the society, it's because of that the peace is not possible. So we need to bring education so all the people, all the armed group, all the war can stop, because all of this have an impact on women and also in the international scene. If we have a project to the youth of UNESCO have organized and asked to do the education piece in the international, the national scene, and through that, we will be able to live all together for the next 10 and 20 years. And we believe that the leaders of the communities are going to all participate. Right now, there's 250 youth, including 127 boys and 123 girls, 26 communities and religious leaders, and 4 master theater trainers are trained and equipped in themes like social cohesion, cohabitation, non-violent conflict management, the culture of peace, solidarity, and so on. 185 home visits were carried out by 5 groups. Right now, 16 causerie debates and more than a dozen community dialogues were organized with young people and community leaders at the rate of 2 talks per week in the village. Micro projects carried out in the northern regions produce concrete results for the population and diffuse local conflicts. So that's why we believe that peace education should be part of the national education curriculum. Peace education has the potential to ultimately change society. Now the youth can embrace new knowledge that includes historical perspective on the origin of war, way to prevent war, evolution toward research on violence in all forms, and ways to prevent war and mitigate conflicts, and much more. This can help facilitate passion and dedication to peace at the individual and collective level. For this peace to spread, NGOs such as HWPL and IP1G, IWPG, and civil society and peace education in the community level is needed. In particular, to root out of the fundamental cause of various forms of structural violence against women and girls, peace education must be the foundation. So it's not simply say a word without word is not enough. We must understand that peace means a state of justice, equality, and partiality. where everyone enjoys dignity and respect, and must work toward that goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give her another big round of applause. For those of you who might have missed the announcement, today's conference will be translated simultaneously into 13 different languages. In Korean, English, Mongolian, French, German, Spanish, Arabic, and Ukrainian will be interpreted through the interpretation devices. And Vietnamese, Russian, Japanese, Mandarin, and Czech will be interpreted online. Please refer to the table on the screen or in your program book for the interpreter channel number for each language. And please check the order of ceremony for the presentation language. We don't want you to miss any of this good content, so please make sure you have your translation devices on. And if you need any assistance, please make sure to ask a nearby staff member. Next, former Minister of Gender, Family, Children, and the Elderly of Tunisia, Naziha Ravidi, will give a presentation on the topic of women's peace education for the future, empowerment in a changing world. Let's give her a big round of applause. Can you pick up your mic, ma'am? Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Aslama, bonjour.
Hello. Annyeonghaseyo. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Mr. Man Hee Lee, Chairman of IWPL, and also to Mrs. Hyun Suk Yoon, Chairwoman of IWPG, for her kind invitation to take part of the commemoration of the 9th World Peace Summit. I would like to congratulate you for organizing this high-level conference. So, I'm from Tunisia, and in 2015, Tunisia have received the Nobel Prize of Peace. So it's a small country in the North Africa with an immensely rich 3,000 years history. And in fact, in 800 before Christ, there's Alisa, a girl named, a woman named Alisa that creates this country. And she also wrote the oldest constitution according to the philosopher Socrates. Aristotle, Socrates. So this small country has a 3,000-year history. And this story has started with a woman. And in 1735 of our era, it was once again a woman, a Muslim princess, Arwa, who abolished the polygamy. So by that, now on, a man can only have one woman, only have one wife. And thanks to her, in all the country, Tunisian women will marry only one man. So in the late Habibi Bourguiba, the founder of modern Tunisia, promulgated the personal statute codes, which reorganize family relations and abolish polygamy and reinforce the right of the woman. So through that, now the woman, the wife, can give her nationality to her children. Before that, it was only men that could do that, but now all the women will be able was able to do that. And in the world of in the Arabic world, she's a well-known woman. And through her, the Tunisia was able to move to the more peace and equality. And also, in 1992, Article 23, which stipulates that the Tunisian woman have to, the obedience to the husband was replaced by the notion of mutual respect. So now in the family there's mutual respect. It's not only the husband that can control. Now I don't have to ask my husband, can I go abroad? No, I can take my own decision. So it wasn't only that, but in June 2017, when I was a minister, we worked to fight the violence against women, and it was passed unanimously. So now we are proud because thanks to that, we raised the age of sexual consent from 13 to 16. I would like to move it to 18, but we are proud that now it's 16. And also, we are proud that before, when a woman that wasn't Muslim wanted to marry a Tunisian man, she had to convert to Islam. But now on, they doesn't have to do that because we fight for this. So for the respect of religion. So we know that there's laws, that there's system, but however, despite these efforts, this is still a long way to go to establish new behaviors and a new culture of respect for human dignity. I believe that it is more intelligent to recognize the right of each culture and civilization to respect its values without prejudice, while having the universal values of human rights as a common denominator. And also, Claude Lévi-Strauss said that he considers the humanist relativism that place the fundamental needs of the human being above all beliefs and cultures, women's rights, children's rights, and the absence of discrimination. So there's not a lot of men today. So I will say, ladies, we come from different backgrounds, but we share a common concern. As women leaders, we should provide solutions to problems such as the lack of security and stability, pandemics, natural disasters, and violence against women, children, and the elderly. All these vulnerable groups who are used as weapons of war, as shields, and are forced to be recruited into armed conflicts that are eaten away at our respective societies. So addressing the issues of peace and security is the very heart of all development and respect for human rights. There can be no human life without dignity. When women participate in peace negotiations, the result agreement have 35% chance of lasting at least 15 years. And Spinoza considered that the peace is not the absence of war, it's a virtue, a state of mind, and a will of governance, trust, and justice. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be celebrating the 23rd anniversary of Security Council resolution on women, peace, and security in October. We will be marking the 16 days of activism to combat violence against women, and we are and we are going to celebrate the International Human Rights Day. So this kind of moment to reflect and take a step back from our daily lives and the lives of people suffering the exodus, famine, and all kinds of wars, and stateless people wandering here and there without root or wings. In addition to the various conferences and platforms, we were looking for new approaches to achieve greater gender equity. And so we found ourselves faced with feminism diplomacy, a concept that originated in Sweden with former Foreign Affairs Minister Margot Wallström, and it's still in infancy. Also, the global context supports this drive for peace and security in order to achieve the 2030 goals in connection with the African United, because the women in Africa are really exceptional women. So in particular, empowering women and girls and eradicating violence and discrimination against them should be prioritized, and full gender equality should be achieved in all aspects of life. Women's peace education is a crucial means to teach women and girls about their rights and how to protect them, providing them with the essential foundation to become integral members of society and leaders. So as mentioned earlier, much like Spinoza's definition of peace, peace emerged from within a person's heart. And to achieve it, to teach, the teaching of peace seeds in the heart should take precedence. So universal education in human rights requires the promotion of feminism diplomacy that fights against all forms of religion, culture, and political relativism. So we must accept and respect the diversity of histories and social practice. My thought goes to the two Syrian brothers. At least we were reunited after so many years apart at the 2021 Olympic Games in Tokyo. My thoughts are also with all the families separate on both sides of the demarcation line. I'm also watching with great interest the resolution of the conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia, a country led by a woman. And also, I think about the comfort women who are fighting again for the regain of the dignity in Korea, and the Zazidites held hostage by Daesh, the children in Palestine and elsewhere, the homeless children who wander around with no identity, no memories, no roots, and no wings, no doubts to fly. So I call on the universal conscience to speak with one voice, the voice of women and men who want a world based on love, respect, and acceptance of others. Together, we go out in peace against war. Thank you for your attention. Kamsa Hamida.
Thank you. Let's give her another big round of applause. Next, a public health expert from the Christian Social Service Commissions, Lillian Benedict Masaki, who's bringing a wave of peace education to Tanzania after completing the PLT lecture training, will share with us about the changes that the PLT has brought about in Tanzania.
Thank you. Dear distinguished guests, IWPG Chairwomen, Secretary General, board members, committee members, IWPG members, representatives around the world, greetings to you all. It's an honor for me to attend 2023 International Women Peace Conference. My name is Lilian Imsak. I come from Tanzania. I work as a Christian Social Service Commission, CSSC, and a public health specialist in non-governmental organization in Tanzania. Today, I'm here to introduce the IWPG Lecture Training Education PLT program, which is designed for elderly women to learn and to discuss the spirit of peace and how to implement it. PLTE was an amazing education program that helped me to discover my inner values, awaken dormant pieces cells within me, and transform my thoughts and perspective through concrete guidance on respecting life and practicing altruism. It became clear to me that this program is groundbreaking, highlighting the infinite potential of women and their essential role in world peace, a knowledge that I believe every woman worldwide should possess. Currently, I hold peace lecture certificates after completing the PLT course, and I am conducting PLT lectures for 23 students. In Tanzania, PLT has been implemented since 2021. As for 2023, we have graduated over 30 students, with 5 of us, including myself, obtaining the Peace Lecture certification. This represents approximately 17% of all PLT graduates who are qualified to teach. In Tanzania, however, there's a challenge that hinders the expansion and certification of PLTE. Some of these challenges have been slow in progress and had limited coverage over the past 2 years. First, there is the issue of internet. Reliable internet access is crucial for the success of PLTE. But in many developing countries like Tanzania, internet access is unequal, with an urban area having better infrastructure than rural areas. This inequality affects the expansion of peace knowledge to the rural and hard-to-reach populations. Paradoxically, those who could benefit the most from education, especially girls and women, are still at risk due to the social and cultural issues such as gender-based violence, female genital mutilation, and early pregnancies. Even in the urban areas, high data bundle costs make internet accessible questionable. The government has promised to address this issue, but no decisive action has been taken so far. Secondly, a shortage of certified PLT instructors nationwide has an impact on the scale of education. Consequently, most of potential groups, such as university students, remain unaware of IWPG and PLTE. This presents a crucial opportunity for us to explore. Thirdly, the recent effect of the pandemic and the Russian-Ukraine war contributed significantly to the depreciation of Tanzanian shillings against the US dollar. This has led to increased living costs, unemployment rate, poverty, and socio-economic hardship. Partially, this explains why some graduates may have shifted their priorities, abandoning their certification process. However, despite these challenges, my unwavering belief and determination have kept IWPG PLTE going. While it may be impractical to immediately build internet infrastructure, it should not deter us from promoting peace. To address this, I plan to create brochures containing PLTE-related materials and personal visit areas with poor internet connectivity, and to conduct face-to-face lectures. To achieve this, we need to produce more peace lecturers who can work tirelessly on the ground. In reality, I have already promoted IWPG and PLT to over 500 women in the region, in like Tanga, Mwanza, Kilimanjaro, Dar es Salaam, and Arusha. I even took the initiative to translate PLT material into Swahili for distribution where it's needed. The women encountered expressed the great enthusiasm, showing keen interest in IWPG activities and PLTE. They wish for themselves, their children, and even their husband to participate in this education. Furthermore, I'm actively seeking ways to support PLT candidates who engage in income generation activities. I plan to secure females representative in each region among PLT supporters who can manage internet costs. This representative will conduct special lectures for all aspiring peace lectures in their respective areas, instilling the vision of PLTE and motivating them to complete the course. We will also seek financial support from the government and the partner with developing countries to ensure that internet and material costs do not pose the burden. Working for peace in challenging environment is not easy, especially in places where women's rights are self-limited. However, the dedication of Unaiskare Retit, a peace activity in Maasai pastoralist community, serves as the source of inspiration. She lives in a place where women's rights are deeply suppressed. Despite not knowing English, she endured a long wait to build Swahili material, and with the help of PLT graduates, created to translate PLT materials, PLT lectures material in booklet form, which she now uses for offline PLT classes. She travels long distance on motorcycle and by foot to reach remote Maasai settlements, spread the seeds of peace through continuous collaboration with church groups and the local community. Her dedication is deeply moving and serves as the role model. And through her commitment, Tanzanians' journey towards peace is accelerating. Tanzania is currently experiencing breathing of peace, and I am extremely excited. Our top priority for achieving significant success in peace education is to collaborate strategically with Tanzanian government. We're in the final stage of registering IWPG Tanzanian chapter, and the IWPG continue to actively engage with the local community, making a really impact. Furthermore, introducing local offline classes and integrating PLT regular classes in women universities will nurture the spirit of peace, drawing a blueprint for the future of peaceful Tanzania. To achieve this, we hope for smooth communication and interest from the government. IWPG is working together with us to develop the PLT program, and we look forward to the government's swift sharing financial support to active IWPG peace program process throughout Tanzania, preparing the wisdom of the next generation. I will also make every effort to raise the awareness of IWPG, PLTE, and DCPW through the various community policies. In conclusion, dear esteemed guests, IWPG is encouraging and empowering women and children who have endured anger, violence, scarcity, suffering, and psychological torture due to war and other humanitarian issues. As a peace knowledge is spread across borders to remote communities, we are seeing women advocating for their rights and families thriving in peace and harmony, no matter where they are. I commend IWPG for its dedication to global peace, and I am considering it as a great privilege to be part of the Verified Peace Lectures who are joining this noble mission. Thank you for your attention. Asante.
Thank you so much. Let's give her another big round of applause. Next, we will have a Q&A session, question and answer session with the audience. But due to time constraints, we will only take one question for today. So please raise your hand if you would like to ask a question. Can we give the mic?
안녕하십니까? 저는 대한민국에서 방정환 연구와 그리고 아동문학을 연구하고 있는 사단법인 방정환 연구소 장정희라고 합니다. 오늘 유네스코 말리 또 튀니지 그리고 탄자니아의 교육 사례를 발표해 주신 세 분 선생님의 발표는 정말 감동적으로 들었습니다.
I was very
특히
moved.
지금까지 저는
Until now,
전쟁의 반대는 평화라고 생각했는데
I thought war was
그것이
the
아니고
opposite of peace,
우리의 차별과 폭력 그런 것이
but it is
없고 사랑과 존중이 인정될 수 있는 그런 마음의 상태라고 하는 거 굉장히 저에게 깊은 인상을 주었습니다. 그렇기 때문에 오늘 세 분 선생님께서 말씀하신
What the panelists have said, women's peace education is a very broad education that can encompass all women. I feel like you've experienced this type of education. And so there is one question I would like to ask all three is, in peace education that is for women, what is the most needed aspect? I will thank you, and we will listen to your answer.
Hopefully everyone heard her question through your translation device. But for our distinguished guests here, basically the question was, what do you think is the most necessary element in peace education for women? So first, because of time constraint, we ask that you please keep your answers to 1 minute. I know that's not enough time. But if we can first hear a response from Secretary General Kadia Mega Diallo. If we could hear your response first.
Peace education. Through peace education, all women and children that don't like violence can have the basic education, and I think it's really important for the future.
Thank you. Next, we will hear a response from the former minister, Naziha Ravidi. If we could hear your response.
So the word peace is very the word peace is something inside of us. So when we are in peace with us and with the environment where we live, then we can transmit the peace to other people. So the peace, first, we start with the children. So first, because we have to have mutual respect, like I said earlier. So if the girl respect the boy respect the girl, and that the white people respect the black people, the Jews respect the Muslim people. So starting from the children, if we start to give them education, so now we can have a peace in the society and a global
Thank you so much
peace.
for your answer. And finally, we will hear a response from expert Lillian Benedict Misaki.
Thank you. Peace is inside the women. All women don't like peace. That's why they can manage a lot of issues. They can take care of their kids. They can take care of their husbands because they like peace. And I believe, we always say that if you educate a woman, you educate the whole family. So if we make a woman to have peace, the whole family will have peace, the community and the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. This ends our first session. Please give the passionate three speakers a big round of applause as they return to their seats. That concludes our session. Thank you so much. Let's give them another big round of applause. Education teaches the need from peace, but culture is what makes peace set roots in the world. Culture has the amazing power to go beyond merely changing our lives to changing the world. This is the topic of our second session, a culture of peace. In this session, we are going to focus on Mindanao, Philippines, which has become a milestone of peace and peace culture. On January 24, 2014, HWPL Chairman Lee Man-hee visited Mindanao, Philippines, and mediated a peace treaty. Today, we have invited people who have directly experienced the changes in Mindanao after the treaty was signed. Let me introduce three amazing women who will explain how the lives of women in Mindanao have changed after the realization of peace. First, Mayor of Capalong, Davao del Norte in Philippines, Maria Teresa Timbo. Mayor Vice of Mangudetatu, Maguindanao Province, Philippines, Elizabeth Mangudadatu. And former president of Zonta Club of Metropolitan Pasig, Ruby Baneres Victorino. Please give them a big round of applause. Now, session 2 will be led by Charlene Her, branch manager of IWPG, the Manila branch.
Okay. Greetings and welcome to all women leaders across the Commonwealth. My name is Charlene and I am the IWPG Philippines Manila branch manager. It is a great honor and privilege to be moderating for today's second once again, it is my privilege to be moderating for today's second session discussion about the peaceful changes in women's lives within the Philippines. Thank you for your providing this precious opportunity and platform for all of us to gather. And especially, I would like to truly thank our invited 3 distinguished guest speakers who have been agreed to share their experiences of peace in Mindanao and throughout other regions of the Philippines. I asked for your understanding before the panelists, and I have actually been meeting a couple of times, and we talked about this theme before. So today, we are actually going to be using these cue cards that we have in front of us so that we can keep up in time and we don't go overboard. So, as we proceed, I would like to kindly ask each of our speakers to introduce themselves. So briefly introduce yourselves, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. I'm Maria Teresa Arroyo Timbol. I was elected in 2016 as the first woman local chief executive of the municipality of Capalong, Davao del Norte, Mindanao, Philippines. And I'm also an active member of IWPG, and currently I'm involved with IWPG activities, promoting peace and empowering our women, especially our IP women.
Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. I am Elizabeth Mangudadatu Tayuan and currently serving as the Municipal Vice Mayor of Mangudadatu Municipality in the province of Maguindanao del Sur, Barm region in Maguindanao.
Thank you.
Peace afternoon to everyone. I am Ruby Baneres Victorino. I am in the advertising and marketing business. I am married to a bishop and a retired justice of Sandigan Bayan, a anti-graft court in the Philippines. And I am proud to say and blessed that me and my husband are doing together as partner in promoting peace in the Philippines. I am connected with various civic social organizations internationally in Rotary and Zonta, and I'm doing peace activities for 15 years already. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Before we get into the Q&A, I think this would be a great time to explain about the past conflict in Mindanao. Mindanao has one of the bloodiest conflicts in Asia, with more than 120,000 deaths and at least 2 to 3.5 million refugees appeared. Ms. Rudy, I'm going to ask you first. Can you briefly explain the historical background between the Philippines and Mindanao that sparked this conflict, ma'am?
Thank you, Charlene. I would like to share first some geographical trivia about our country. You know, Philippines as an archipelago is comprised of 7,641 islands. And 2,000 are inhabited and the rest are still for naming. And these islands are actually divided into 3. We call it Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And in Luzon, it is actually the biggest island with about 66 million in population, followed by Mindanao with 26 million. And currently, with 26 million in Mindanao, 63% are Christians, 32% are Muslims, and 5% are of other religion, backgrounds, and beliefs. The conflict in Mindanao started in 16th century. The Moro people, who are Muslims, have a history of resistance against foreign or Spanish rule. The Spaniards colonized our country for about 330 years and introduced Christianity as a religion. But at that time, Islam is already an existing religion in Mindanao before the Spanish ruling. And because of the introduction of Christianity, it created a conflict, a religious conflict. There are also land ownerships were taken away from the Filipinos. The Americans followed after the Spaniards, and they introduced a system of education patterned on them, and then followed the World War II with the Japanese invasion of Manila. It was towards the end of the colonial era that Mindanao's armed conflict, civil war, intensified.
I see. Well, after Philippines' independence, Muslims on the island of Mindanao began an armed struggle in the 1970s, demanding independence from the Philippine government, but the government used force to annex Mindanao. Oppression and discrimination against the Moro people ultimately led to for over 40 years of conflict. Various anti-government groups included the Moro National Liberation Front, which is the MNLF, and Moro Islamic Liberation Front, which is the MILF, and the New People's Army, the MPA, frequently engaged in civil war with government forces. And after several rounds of mediation and negotiation by the international community, the Philippine government signed the Bangsamoro Framework Agreement, which is the FAB, in October of 2012. Yet deep-rooted religion conflicts were not easily resolved. So Ms. Elizabeth and Ms. Maria, I would like to ask you, as both of you were born and raised in Mindanao, you must have deep understanding of how women in Mindanao lived during the conflict period. Could you share some of your experience? First, I'll ask Ms. Elizabeth.
Yes, of course. I was born in Mindanao, the southern part of the Philippines, where armed conflict was a never-ending problem. In the past, I have witnessed many who have lost their husband and children in war. The war that caused so much suffering, especially for women who were left to juggle raising their children alone. Education is another thing, as it was considered a luxury for most during the war because of the high rate of illiteracy. The unemployment among us was beyond imaginable. The Bangsamoro women could not ask for equal job opportunities. As a result, most of the people in the Bangsamoro region were stuck below poverty line. Poverty, which is the worst form of violence, was another battle that the Bangsamoro women had to fight in their day-to-day lives. Armed conflict was a big contributory factor to poverty in the region. And the parents were desperate. And as a result, the parents are hindered to send their children to school. Hence, the cycle of illiteracy and poverty continued to be one generation to another. What's more, the conflict hindered the industrial development of the land too. Mindanao is said to be the land of promise. We have vast agricultural land, rich natural resources. We also have stunning and world-class tourist attraction. But because of our long history of armed conflict, the tourists' first concern will be their safety. The conflict areas were not progressive because businessmen were hesitant to invest, and we were left out when it comes to development. The people and the leaders were desperate, and we were all craving for progress. But what we had was not enough for us to move forward because there was no peace. Investment and tourism were not improving.
How about for you, Ms. Maria? Can you please share your experiences as well, please?
Of course, we also experience the same situation. Conflict in our IP communities in Kapalong, Davao del Norte disseminated women's well-being. They faced instability, fear, limited access to basic services because of the conflict. IP women faced greater risk and vulnerabilities and suffered displacement, harassment from the insurgents. The conflict disoriented their daily routines and cultural structures, disrupting community cohesions and traditions. The conflict also disrupted women's economic and educational opportunities. The violence also disrupted education, reducing IP women and girls' opportunity for education. The conflict also hindered healthcare and reproductive rights. Due to the limited healthcare facilities and resources, maternal and birth death rates rose. Absence of basic healthcare impaired the general well-being and the quality of life. Women in the IP communities had different conflict experiences, and the conflict increased gender disparities in indigenous women's struggles.
Well, thank you for sharing. Peace eventually found its way to Mindanao, where the end of the conflict seemed uncertain. The civilian peace agreement mediated by HWPL was achieved in 2014. Could you please share what the local response was like at the time for your experiences in Mindanao, Ms. Elizabeth?
We have seen the transformation in our place in Mindanao because of the peace efforts and the peace effort and of the NGOs like Heavenly Culture, World Peace, Restoration of Light, and Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. With the efforts of Chairman Lee and his team to mediate peace in Mindanao by having peace agreement, has stamped out the embers of conflict by resolving fundamental cause religious feud. As a woman leader in Mindanao and a peace advocate myself, I would say that the peace initiative of Chairman Lee and HWPL is such an inspiration and a blessing for all of us. And we will forever be thankful to Chairman Lee, HWPL, and DPCW.
Ms. Ruby, what do you think this peace agreement means? What does you think it means?
Okay. The Mindanao Peace Agreement mediated by HWPL and the projects that IWPG did thereafter involving the civil society is for me an effective strategy to achieve sustainable peace. To end the conflict, we therefore need a strong political will, humanitarian efforts, and long-term response from our various government agencies and civic societies. Partnership between our government and non-government agencies, the civil societies like Rotary and SONTA during the COVID pandemic had proven that basic needs like food, shelter, and even job employment can be provided easily and to many of our marginalized sectors. Peace agreements and other initiatives of HWPL and IWPG, like the implementation of its peace education in various schools, institutions, especially on women's organization, will awaken the minds, provide inspiration and the needed motivation for individuals and organizations to unite and work together towards a common goal of lasting peace in our country and in the world.
Yes, thank you. Then Ms. Elizabeth, what's the overall change in women's lives after the peace agreement?
We found hope, a silver lining from this troubled land. With the Bangsamoro women are by strong-willed and resilient. We have remained steadfast and optimistic despite everything. So when the war subsided, with the help of the government and non-government organizations, such as the HWPL, we, the Bangsamoro women, started to find our courage to fight for peace and actively participate in the peace process. Many of us are now holding a significant position in society. We now have many women leaders, and some are internationally recognized because of their remarkable achievement. Women now are given equal job opportunities. Poverty is undeniably still present, but we are progressing.
Yes, wonderful news. That's so wonderful to hear. As the municipal mayor of Kapalong, Davao del Norte, Mayor Dimple, you are currently leading and having significant changes in Mindanao. I've heard that there have been many transformations in Mindanao since the peace agreement. How was the region changed politically, socially, and economically after the peace agreement? Additionally, what changes are you working on to bring as mayor?
In June 2022, Davao del Norte was declared insurgency-free, and that includes the municipality of Kapalong. And with that big accomplishment in the government, the local government has facilitated the provision of essential services to our constituents, such as the infrastructure, encompassing the development of transportation networks, education, housing developments, electrification, healthcare facilities, among others. The local government has adopted a range of initiatives aimed at fostering economic growth by facilitating the creation of sustainable livelihood for its residents, especially in our indigenous people communities. The quality of life of people, especially women, has experienced substantial improvement as a result of expanded opportunities for education, enhanced access to health services. As of today, Kapalong has established 74 school facilities. 34 of them were established in various indigenous people communities. The establishment of these facilities, including our local college, was able to provide opportunities for our children, in particular our IP children. Furthermore, in the last school year, the local college was able to produce 6 IP graduates with a degree in agriculture. The graduates are valuable products in our efforts to respond to our ultimate call for peace. Presently, there are 6,000 students enrolled in our local college, and 660, or 3.4% of the overall student population, are indigenous youth. On the other hand, the LGU also has contracted 22 health facilities, of which 6 are established in the IP communities. We have provided 5 doctors, 20 nurses, 11 midwives, and 127 community health workers, including the provision of emergency and rescue vehicle for the facility and operation of the community. With our commitment on effectively institutionalizing peace, the establishment of 3 peace villages with 700 housing units located in our RP community is of great significance to the lives of our IP brothers and sisters. The project aims to establish a peaceful community while advocating ecologically sustainable livelihood through fishing and aquaculture initiatives. Kapalong is currently experiencing a notable transformation characterized by a flourishing community that exhibits a strong commitment to go beyond the previous years of crisis. In commemoration of the achievement of making the whole community free from insurgency, the local government in Kapalong was observing its annual Peace Day. This Peace Day celebration, I copied it from the annual Peace Day celebration of SWPL and IWPG in 2016 and 17, which I attended. Then immediately, we passed an ordinance number 1025. It designates every first last Friday of March in every calendar year as the Municipal Peace Day in the municipality of Kapalong. It's participated by all sectors in our municipality, including the children, the senior citizens. As I mentioned earlier, I copied it from 2016 and 17 Peace Festival in Seoul, Korea, in South Korea.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. As we just heard about the changed lives of women in Mindanao, I would like to ask Ms. Ruby, have you noticed much changes from individuals who have moved from Mindanao to Luzon? And how does this affect them in some ways?
Oh, actually, Shirlene, I have many friends from Mindanao who now resides in Manila. Some of them choose to live on their own, and some of them would like to be a living testimony of their experiences. And geographically, as mentioned, we are far and we don't have the first-hand information about the real situation in Mindanao. And these people from Mindanao who now resides in Manila share their experiences with us, and now we have the actual first-hand information that happened. And their stories shared, we were able to broaden our understanding on the root causes of conflict, and enables us, the civil society and non-government organizations at our Sonta Club and the Rotary Club of Manila Metro, to look for a solution that will provide lasting and sustainable peace. One of my Muslim friends requested for assistance in providing rehabilitation programs on areas directly hit by the war. So we let our government provide the basic food and temporary shelters, while organizations like us, civic society, extend support on rebuilding their houses, schools, and conducting various activities like counseling for emotional support to displaced families. It is a collaborative approach as we empathize, sympathize, and got inspired from the testimonials of these individuals who have moved from Mindanao to Luzon.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you very much to all the speakers for sharing with us your valuable insight. Lastly, can you please ask if you could share a brief message to the women of conflicted areas? Would you please leave a message? Oh, I'll start with Ms. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Ms. Charlene. For all the women out there who are still in conflict areas, don't lose hope. Fight for peace, not by violence, but by equipping yourselves and your children with education. Raise your voice, stand up for peace, and be advocates of peace in your own little way. Support NGOs like HWPL. Start molding your children to be a good and peace-loving citizen. Thank you so much, and we are one for peace.
Thank you very much, Ms. Elizabeth. And for you, Ms. Maria Teresa.
I truly support the fight for every woman for free from oppression and violence. I express my unwavering support as you are on the same course in the pursuit of spreading peace. Remember that we deserve a better world. We deserve a better future. Together, let's fight for peace.
Thank you, Ms. Maria. And last but not least, Ms. Ruby.
There is always peace at the end of the tunnel. May I share with you some Bible verse in John 14:27? Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." So God wants peace for all of us. He sees everything that we do, and by His grace, He will protect all those women that are in conflict areas. We have our natural traits as women. Sensitivity, we are sweet, we are supportive, warm, empathy. We have affection, tenderness, and understanding. Let us create an environment of loving individuals, starting at our homes. Peace and love must begin with us. I love the quote in one of the speeches of President Kennedy, which says, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." I call for our women to unite and be proactive rather than waiting for their government support. The solidarity amongst us and our partnership with women's organizations like IWPG is our key to achieve sustainable peace. Lastly, in order for me, I believe, to achieve a culture of peace, let us all be peacemakers. And peacemakers, let us start from our homes, our families, our communities, our country, and for the world. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you very much. Well, this will conclude our session. I would like to thank everyone for your time and a big thank you to the 3 panelists that are here today providing such wonderful answers. 감사합니다. 감사합니다, everyone.
Thank you. That was a very valuable opportunity for us to hear news of hope from the witnesses of peace in Mindanao. Let's give them another big round of applause. Peace requires sustainable laws and institutions. IWPG has confirmed that the 10 articles, 38 clauses of the DPCW proclaimed by Peace Cooperative Organization HWPL are the answer to peace and is working to make sure that the DPCW becomes a binding international law. While working actively both online and offline, IWPG has taken practical measures such as promoting the necessity of the DPCW and urging female leaders to support it at the UN Commission on the Status of Women. The topic of Session 3 is Institutionalization of Peace. For the session, we have invited speakers who will speak about the DPCW and the role of women in the process of institutionalization of peace. First, we will call the limitations of international law surfaced by the current international affairs. Dr. Alam Baden will come forward to discuss. Please give her a big round of applause. Let's welcome her with another big round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good afternoon, everyone, and peace to everyone attending
طالما كان السلام والأمن الدوليين
as long as international peace and security have been the goals of humanity and a necessity for preserving human life and safety, by upholding these 2 principles of world peace and security amongst various religions that led to the signing of treaties to stop wars and to establish world peace.
وبما أننا لازلنا نعيش عصر التفوق الغربي فسنكتفي بمراجعة ميثاق الأمم المتحدة كي نرى كيف تناول موضوع السلم والأمن الدوليين أولاً وما العوائق التي حالت بين الأمم المتحدة
The UN Charter primarily addresses international peace and security, discussing the obstacles to achieving these principles and proposing strategies to realize them. The UN Charter emphasizes world peace as a primary objective and means. Virtually all provisions of the Charter focus on this goal. Rules for maintaining world peace have been established. and any acts that threaten this peace are considered international crimes. Furthermore, restoring world peace is closely linked to restoring international security. Both world peace and security are core essentials for human growth and development for the entire humanity. Built on what was previously mentioned in the UN Charter, or the Charter of the United Nations, it revolves mostly around international peace and security and urges all nations to uphold the clauses in this charter. Many laws and regulations are provided as the principles and are built with strong legal and ethical authorities to impose such goals. They are considered important norms in international laws, jus cogens, meaning they must be strictly adhered to, and failure to uphold them results in severe consequences and liabilities. The UN Charter respects the sovereignty of all nations equally and refrains from intervening in internal affairs of other countries. It also protects the right of people who have not yet formed their nation to self-determination. In cases where these principles are violated, it recognizes the right to self-defense, including preventive, individual, or collective self-defense. However, it sets conditions to prevent the abuse of the right to self-defense, ensuring that such aggressive actions cease after achieving their initial defensive purpose. These provisions emphasize international peace. These provisions emphasize international peace and security and encourage cooperation among nations. Nevertheless, the principle of non-interference in internal affairs of member states can be an exception as specified in Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. These measures are applied when a state violates international laws, commits human rights abuses. The concept of human intervention, or the responsibility to protect, was established in the 1980s. Justifies international intervention when serious human rights issues arise within a country. This principle of non-interference, regardless of the contents in which it is built, protects these nations whom cannot be protected without the application of international law. Because many states that are built on the self-governance lack the ability to protect themselves, which is why this is an important means for the UN Charter to be applied when it comes to these new states, so that regardless of the external authorities that threaten these nations, the UN Charter can protect the human rights issues that arise within a country. Secondly, what are the difficulties in achieving international peace and security? Or what are the challenges faced by the United Nations in achieving these goals? These goals are related to two important points. The first one is the national practices. The UN Charter, including the Charter of the United Nations, was drafted by the nations that were victorious in the Second World War. It includes agreements from post-World War I and serves the interests of the victorious nations. Consequently, this charter contains rules to promote world peace, and these rules were established to serve the nations of powerful nations. As a result, this concept of quote-unquote justice in the international community transformed into preserving these interests. This led to violations of national sovereignty, self-determination, and human rights abuses, as powerful nations started to exploit weaker nations. The terms human intervention and responsibility to protect were often abused for economic, military, and political gains. Such nations created an atmosphere that fostered corruption, an atmosphere that stirred up chaos and conflicts, and caused discord between international stakeholders and those who rejected external intervention, leading to inequality where rights were granted to some regions, but these human rights were denied to others. As a result, this has resulted in a lot of conflicts around the world, and it has created a place where chaos has been incentivized by authorities. Thus, these situations do not have a legal precedence and do not abide by the UN Charter. Moreover, many nations were divided based on the interests of powerful nations and not taking into account the interests of the nation itself that has been divided, resulting in border changes. These double standards in international policy have resulted in widespread terrorism and corruption worldwide, along with various difficult global crises and challenges. The United States benefited from the collapse of the Soviet Union and as a result imposed sanctions on other countries based on its internal laws and interests, ignoring international law completely. The second point, the United Nations and the level of the United Nations Charter. The United Nations Charter delegates the task of maintaining international peace and security to the Security Council. However, the Security Council does not make decisions based on the principle of sovereign equality and is not neutral. Most resolutions are subject to the veto power of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, meaning that international peace and security became a game that is determined by the interests of these 5 nations. This, in its essence, contradicts the main principles and objectives of the UN Charter, making it difficult to achieve its other goals worldwide. The problem doesn't end there, but the International Criminal Court's work is primarily channeled through the Security Council, and thus the veto power of major nations obstructs the punishment of major criminals and perpetrators of serious crimes. Thirdly and finally, we can now look at the 2 dimensions that can spread peace and establish the security for the future of humanity. And these 2 dimensions are the public awareness and the mechanisms of the United Nations. If we look at the public awareness dimension first, and let's first look at the term public here. Public here refers to all individuals globally. Citizens of developed countries must be aware of the events that are happening outside their own nations and issues faced by third world citizens. They should monitor and they should prevent their governments from committing criminal acts against third world citizens due to their ignorance. Moreover, third world citizens should be able to voice their concerns to the global community, and they should be able to interact with people around the world. They have a duty to protect their countries and national resources from foreign exploitation, achieving true independence that is determined determined by their own destinies and choose their desired political and economic systems. Fortunately, the advancement of communication and technology has greatly facilitated information exchange, idea sharing, and effective dissemination of the truth about current situation, providing more opportunities for people worldwide to interact. The global public opinion plays a crucial role in achieving international peace and security. It can help move in the direction of realizing international peace by eliminating global tensions and to achieve the goals and the root causes of wars. Secondly, let us look at the UN mechanism dimensions. The United Nations must ensure national representation and improve the decision-making process in the security, making it more efficient, objective, and neutral. This would encourage major world power to relinquish their privilege of veto in the favor of a more common good of humanity, and not for its personal interests. In summary, we should, number one, reform the Security Council and apply international law and the UN Charter effectively and impartially to establish international justice. Secondly, enhance international cooperation based on just principles and refrain from exploiting the resources of developing and third world countries. Number three, major powers should abandon their domination over international politics, resources, and strategic areas and cease imposing sanctions on other nations that is causing widespread disasters and crises. Fourth, strengthen collective self-defense to allow oppressed and discriminated populations to exercise their right to self-determination. And the biggest example of this is the Palestinian population whose land has been occupied and whose land is left with nothing but 20% of their land.
والتي هي خيال لأنه 20% من أرض فلسطين التاريخية.
To even call it Palestine is an imagination, to call it a nation, because 20% of the land of Palestine is only what is remained. And the goal should be to create an environment of coexistence in that land and to give the people their right to self-determination. That is to remove the current system of prejudice. Fifth, we need to establish rules to distinguish terrorism from movements for national liberation, particularly crimes related to colonial domination. And when we are referring to this, this is referring to the current system in Palestine that is being occupied, that is resulting in detaining and killing indigenous people and forced displacement, land and resource grabbing, and the occupation of foreign armies in that land. These actions result in discrimination and prejudice against the remaining local and indigenous population. In conclusion, I want to end this speech with the hope that today's conference will be successful and the proposed Declaration of Peace on Earth to End All Wars, DPCW, which contains new international laws for peace, will become a beacon of hope for humanity and future generations. And I hope that HWPL and IPYG have all the success in their goals of building peace and to be able to achieve everything they propose. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give her another big round of applause to Dr. Alam Beydoun, who emphasized the limitations of existing international laws and the necessity of the institutionalization of the DPCW and the urgent need for a world of peace without war. Thank you. Next, the director of IWPG HQ's Peace Education, Lee Kyu-sun, will come forward to explain the value of the DPCW. Please greet her with a big round of applause.
To all the family members of peace around the world, it is a pleasure to meet you all. I am Kyu-sun Lee, the Director General of Peace Education of IWPG headquarters. It is an honor to be with everyone today on this precious day. When I received the opportunity to give this speech today, I thought a lot about what I should discuss. But before I continue, let me briefly introduce myself. I am a mother to a son. If my country goes to war, my son is obligated to put on his military uniform and go to the battlefield. Although South Korea seems like a peaceful country, it is still technically in a state of ceasefire. So all adult male citizens are obligated to serve in the military, and there is no exception for my son. As a mother, there is nothing more dreadful than having my son go to war with a murder weapon. There may be even some who experience such horrendous situations firsthand, sitting here today with us. Even with the recent Russo-Ukrainian war, the battlefield where they stood at the crossroads of life and death, every day young people were sent to the battlefield. Young men who lived ordinary lives are suddenly holding guns and pushed into harm's way the very next day. Just like that, countless young people go to the battlefield and disappear like dew. Every time I hear news regarding the war, I will think of the worst case scenarios, which is my own son being sent to the front lines. Then I will make a determination to accomplish world peace for the sake of my children and for the sake of this world. So as a person in charge of education, peace education, I've come to realize the necessity of institutionalizing peace to ensure that peace education transcends the current generation and endures for generations to come. Through this process, I became interested in the groundbreaking Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, known as DPCW. The reason for my interest was that to build peace, substantial and binding measures are essential, and the DPC offers guidance and objective in this regard. If women around the world became aware of the existence, content, and significance of the DPCW, we can work together to end war and achieve world peace, which we all desire. Therefore, I would like to introduce DPCW and unite all our hearts. The DPCW was established through the efforts of the HWPL International Law Peace Committee, composed of international law experts, and was proclaimed on March 14, 2016. This declaration consists of 10 articles with 38 clauses, and we can categorize the 10 articles into two parts, roles and the contents. Articles 1 to 7 and Articles 8 to 10 are categorized as roles. The first half of the declaration, which are Articles 1 to 7, addresses the roles of states, and the second half, Articles 8 to 10, emphasizes the participation of not only the states, but also the roles of all the communities made up of individuals for the development of peace. Next is the content that is categorized into three parts. Articles 1 to 5 presents methods for preventing conflict. Articles 6 to 7 offers dispute settlements and mediation when conflict arises. 8 to 10 presents ways to end conflict and establish and maintain peace. Now, which part of the declaration should we focus on? We must first realize that those responsible for peace are not only the states, but it is also individuals from different backgrounds. Those who initiate conflicts and wars can be individuals, non-state organizations, or states. In an increasingly diverse international society, The influence of individuals and groups continue to
평화
grow.
세계 구축은
Building a
우리 모두의
peaceful
공동의
world
대응이
is the
필요한 시대적 과제가
project
되는
this
것이죠.
era of this era
DPCW는 이러한 점에
and requires all
주목하여
of our
국가적 차원의
cooperation.
노력 외에도
The
시민사회의
DPCW
노력,
focuses on this
평화
point
문화의
and
영향력을
highlights the
조명하고
efforts of
있습니다.
civil society
이
and the
사실이 우리에게
influence of the
시사하는
culture
바는
of peace.
평화가 바로
In addition to
개인에서부터도
national
시작될 수
efforts,
있다는
this
것입니다.
truth reminds us that
여성은
peace can start from
국제사회의
individuals.
구성원으로서
As members
우리
of the
개인의
international
변화와 행동은
community,
사회에
women
충분히
have
큰
the power
반향을
to
일으킬
create
수 있습니다.
significant ripples through our
우리는
personal
문화를
changes and
형성하고
actions.
향유하며
We
이를
shape,
계승하고
enjoy,
전승하는
inherit, and pass
주체입니다.
down culture.
내가 어떤
The
방식으로
way I
사고하고
think, the
또
things I
어떤 것을
seek,
추구하고
and the actions I
어떤
take
행동을 하는지가
become
역사가 되어
history for
후대에
future
남게 됩니다.
generations. I
여러분들도
believe
이미
everyone
잘 알고
here is
계시리라
already
믿습니다.
aware of this.
가정에서도
Even in a family
우리는 서로 막대한
that is like
영향을
a small
주고
society,
받으니까요.
we have a great
뿐만
impact
아니라
on one
DPCW는
another.
법의 원칙이
Furthermore, the
통치하는 세계를
DPCW
지향하고
advocates
있습니다.
for a world governed
이
by the
사실이 얼마나
principles of law.
중요한지는 우리
We all
모두가
are aware
너무도
of
잘
how
알고 있습니다.
important this truth is.
무력이 해결할 수
As an
있다고
educator
생각하는 순간
myself, there are
발생하는 것이
countless
바로
times
폭력이고
where I felt the
분쟁이니까요.
importance of teaching the spirit
우리는
of
무분별한
and
무력의
virtue
남용을
of
방지하기
becoming
위해
a member in a
법이라는
peaceful
원칙을
society
만들었고
in
가장
order to achieve a
합리적이고
world
공정한
without
합의를 위해
conflicts or
우리는 보다
disputes.
더 나은 가치,
When we think
보다 더
military
나은
force
법과 규준을
can
고민하고
be used to
선언할 필요가
resolve
있습니다.
issues, violence and war
DPCW는
breaks out,
유엔 헌장,
we have
세계
created
인권 선언 및
principles
국제
of law
협약
to
등
prevent
각종
reckless abuse
문서에서
of
다루는
force and to
근본적
achieve the most
가치를
rational
포괄하고
and fair
있습니다.
agreements.
평화
We need to
공존,
consider
관용 및
and
상호 존중
declare
등의
better
가치이죠.
values, better laws, and
DPCW는
regulations.
다원화되는
The
국제사회에서
DPCW overcomes
서로의
these
다양성을
challenges.
이해하고
DPCW
존중하기 위한 여러
encompasses the
조항을
fundamental
명시하며
values found in
이를
various
바탕으로
documents,
모든
such
행위자가
as the
추구하고
UN
지켜야
Charter,
할 원칙을 제시하고
the
있습니다.
Universal
그렇기 때문에
Declaration
만일
of Human
DPCW가
Rights
법적 구속력을 갖춘 법안이
international
된다면
agreements.
분명히 평화
It
세계를
highlights
위한
values
새로운
like
질서이자
peaceful
주춧돌이
coexistence,
되어줄
tolerance,
것입니다.
and mutual respect. The DPCW explicitly outlines numerous
오늘
clauses
이
to foster an
컨퍼런스에는 정말
understanding
다양한
of
국가와 계층의
respect for
여성들이 참석해
diversity in our
주셨는데요. 우리
international
모두는 이
society.
선언문에 관심을 갖고
We are joined by
지지할 필요가
women from
있습니다.
diverse countries and backgrounds for
세계
today's
인권 선언문이
conference.
공표됐을
And there
때
is a need for us
아무도
to
그
take
선언에
interest and
관심을 가져주지
support this
않고 아무도 그
declaration.
선언의 지지를
If no one
표명하지
paid attention
않았다면
to and supported
아마
the
인권이라는 것은
Universal
훨씬
Declaration
더디
of Human
다뤄지고
Rights when it
인간의
was proclaimed,
존엄성과 권리는
humans'
묵살됐을
right might
것입니다.
have progressed at a
DPCW
much
또한
slower pace.
마찬가지입니다.
This applies to the
우리가
DPCW.
DPCW에 관심을
If we
가지고
do not take an interest in
DPCW가
what the
무엇을 말하고
DPCW
이것이
conveys,
담고 있는
its
가치는
underlying
무엇이며
values, and the
이를
efforts required
제도화하기
to
위해 우리는
institutionalize
어떠한
it,
노력을 기울여야
a
하는지
war
따져보지
without a world
않는다면
without war
전쟁 없는
will remain
세상은 요원한
distant.
일이 될 것입니다.
IWPG
IWPG는
is
현재
currently
DPCW에
carrying out
담긴 평화의
numerous
정신을
projects
기반으로
based on the
수많은
spirit of
사업을
peace
진행하고
that is
있고
in the
실제로
DPCW,
DPCW가 법적
and
구속력을 갖춘
IWPG is actively
국제법으로
advocating
상정될 수
for the
있도록 지지
DPCW to be
활동도 펼치고
presented
있습니다.
as a legally binding
우리는
international law.
평화를
We must
실질적으로
realize
이루어야
and
하고
establish permanent
영구적으로
peace.
지속해야 합니다.
To
이를
achieve
위해서
this, I hope that
DPCW에
everyone will show
관심을 가지고
interest in the
함께 지지해
DPCW
주실
and
것을
join us in supporting it.
부탁드립니다. 그리하여서
Let us
나의
work
사랑하는
together to
자녀를,
secure
가족을
further a
전쟁으로부터 지킬
future
수
where
있는
our
날이
beloved children
하루빨리
and
오기를
families are protected
희망합니다.
from war.
여러분,
Let us achieve not
마지막으로 여러분께
just
호소합니다.
peace
우리
that is
불시에
fleeting,
깨어질 평화가 아닌
but
항구적 평화를
one that is
달성합시다.
everlasting.
경청해 주셔서
Thank you.
감사합니다.
Thank you. Please once again send a big round of applause to Director Lee Kyu-sun. This time, former Mongolian National Assembly member Bari Mangtuya will come forward to give a speech on the role of women in institutionalizing sustainable peace. Please give her a big round of applause.
Admirable family of peace. I am Munho Toya from Mongolia. I am sincerely welcome everyone to the International Women's Peace Conference. Has anyone here experienced war before? When I was young, war existed in the world and it continues today. As we are all aware, the world is suffering from many conflicts, environmental issues, and wars and conflicts that threaten peace. In addition to the Syrian civil war and Gulf War, the prolonged Russo-Ukrainian war reveals the many limitations international law has for peace. Why do non-peaceful situations like violence in society and political instability continue despite various peace treaties between countries and international organizations such as the UN that are made for peace? We gathered here today to overcome this reality and seek a new path to realize peace. Mongolia and South Korea have had significant exchanges in diplomacy and security. In 2022, under the motto Peace and Development in Northeast Asia will lead to Korean Peninsula unification, the Mongolia Diplomatic and Security Forum was held with the participation of key political figures, professors, and researchers from various countries. While working in countries like the United States and the United Kingdom, I was shocked to learn that not only Mongolia, but also all nations around the world invest substantial budgets in preparing for war. It occurred to me that if the budgets could have been used for substantial development in each country. However, on the other hand, I also believe that fundamentally, war can be preventable. In this regard, the 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW, first proclaimed by HWPO, a collaborative organization of IWPG, was both thought-provoking and impressive. It encompasses all the clauses that can fundamentally prevent war, such as reducing arms support and production, refraining from invading other countries' territories, and guaranteeing self-determination for each nation. Furthermore, it promotes a culture of peace that can prevent religious conflict and achieve lasting peace. The mission of IWPG to protect children during conflict and leave peace as a legacy for the future generation resonated with me, especially the 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW. Since then, I have actively engaged in advocating and urging for the establishment of the DPCW in collaboration with various organizations in Mongolia. In Mongolia, we have been running campaigns to support DPCW in all regions except for Govi LT since 2016. Many organizations, including the NGO, LEOS, and the Association of Mothers with the Order of Famous Mothers actively participated, resulting in over 5,200 signatures so far. These efforts have been highly successful, with many women registering and actively joining IWPG to engage in peace activities. The 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW hold significant value in the realm of education as it provides the only solution to fundamentally prevent war. Therefore, I have been focusing on women's peace education in Mongolia and have been striving to achieve concrete results through practical activities and the continuous training of peace educators through IWPG's Peace Lecture Training Education. Moreover, we need to actively participate in government-level negotiations for the DPCW to become an internationally binding law. Women's participation in the negotiations process plays a crucial role as they can offer unique perspective and wisdom in conflict resolution. By increasing women's participation in political and social decisions, we can contribute to creation of more peaceful and inclusive international laws. Collaboration among various civil institutions and organizations is also essential for building peace. During this process, women leadership qualities such as communication, cooperation, and reconciliation are crucial. To promote awareness of peace and achieve practical peace, we need to foster cooperation through a peace community that focuses on various topics and activities. Once again, women play an important role in achieving peace. It is because women can offer a perspective without discrimination.
Мөн энэ үйл явцад манлайлан хамгийн олон давуу тал болох харилцан ойлголцол, хамтын үйл ажиллагаа, эв нэгдэл хэрэгтэй байна. Инх тайвны тухай ойлголтыг сурталчлах, жинхэнэ инх тайвныг тогтоох
In June of this year, IWPG organized the Mongolian Peace Assembly under the theme Women Uniting as the Light of the World. Approximately 300 leaders from various fields gathered to discuss IWPG's value of peace and pledge to spread peace throughout Mongolia. We also erected a peace monument with the hope of safeguarding peace and leaving an eternal legacy of peace for future generations. Today's conference is an opportunity for us to formulate practical goals and take concrete actions to achieve peace. Peace is everyone's responsibility, and the efforts and roles of women are crucial in realizing it. Let us now not just proclaim peace in words, but take even small steps towards it. When women come together, we can connect the branches of peace and advance towards a peaceful world. I hope that from this moment, we can sow the seeds of peace together and embark on a new leap towards achieving world peace.
Бид өнөөдөр энэ газар та бүхэнтэй хамтдаа инх тайвны үрийг тарьж, хамтдаа алхаж, дэлхийд инх тайвныг хэрэгжүүлдэг шин замд нэгдэн орсондоо баяртай байна. Бид хийж чадна, тийм ээ. We are one.
We can do it. We are one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. Let's give her another big round of applause. Next, we will move on to wrap up and conclude today's International Women's Peace Conference. Let's invite Secretary General of IWPG HQ, Chun Na-young, with a big round of applause.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chun Na-hyung, the Secretary General of IWPG. First, I'd like to thank everyone for joining the 2023 International Women's Peace Conference. And I also would like to thank all the speakers for sharing their valuable insights and experiences. In today's session, under the theme of the multidimensional role of women for sustainable peace, we first heard special remarks from Her Excellency Aya Benjamin Worley, followed by insights, 3 sessions, women's peace education and culture of peace and institutionalization of peace. And just as Dr. Maika mentioned, we must empower women and strengthen the awareness of peace through education. And Ms. Nezia Rabidi and Ms. Lilian Imsaki mentioned how women's peace education can encourage individuals' change and actions and can positively influence society. And if this education becomes widespread, and if people who took this education come together, this in turn becomes culture. And culture forms the root of values and exerts influence on a more comprehensive and extensive framework of life. That is what happened in Mindanao, as we have heard from Mayor Timbol and Vice Mayor Elizabeth Mangudadatu and Ms. Ruby Benares Victorino. Most importantly, peace must not be a temporary act, but a standard that is legally binding. So, with a sense of responsibility for the present and future generation, we must think of ways to build institutions that are necessary to humanity, like Dr. Alam Beidown. TPCW will be that guiding principle, and as Ms. Munutoya said, we women must think of our role in the peace-building process. In this way, a culture of peace begins where transformed individuals through peace education gather, and through the process of this culture becoming legally binding through institutions, it can lead to achieving our goal for sustainable peace. Therefore, IWPG has been actively promoting initiatives such as women's peace education, spreading a culture of peace, and urging for the legalization of TPCW. Furthermore, another important aspect I want to highlight is solidarity. Each of us individually may be weak, but when we come together as one, we are strong, and we can make the impossible things possible. So we need the strength of the women leaders gathered here today for ourselves and for our loved ones, and to achieve peace. And IWPG not only hosts this conference every year, but also organizes various platforms for discussion and exchange. And our discussion today must not just end with words, but I hope that it leads to practical projects and activities in each country. And governments and institutions must develop and implement peace policies, while civil society must make sure that peace education and a culture of peace reaches women marginalized in society. And we hope to meet more women at next year's conference and share even more wonderful and beautiful news of peace. So, dear Peace family, for the progress and the results of this development, please continue to become one with IWPG. And please become messengers of peace and promote IWPG in your home countries. And please encourage all the women in your home countries to become IWPG members. Can you do this? Can you do this? One more. Can you do this? Thank you. IWPG has dynamically leaped forward over the past 10 years in achieving the peace that the world needs. Now, for the upcoming 10 years, IWPG is planning many and various initiatives with even more driven goals. So please join us in the process of achieving this peace. And we believe in the power of united women. And as all of us know, the work of achieving peace is the most valuable and noble task in the world. And future generations and history will remember us forever. And lastly, let's say together, we are one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your lovely speech. Let's give her another big round of applause. Next, we will move on to the appointment of IWPG advisors and publicity ambassador. Today, we will appoint 2 advisors that will work with IWPG to establish policies on peace establishment based on the expertise of the field, and 1 publicity ambassador who will be the face of IWPG to help spread news of peace all around the world. Those whose names are called, please come forward and stand in front of the podium. Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare of South Sudan, Aya Benjamin Libo Warel. Former Minister of Immigration and Refugees of Iraq, Pascal Esho Warda. Co-founder of the Israeli-Palestinian for Peace Organization, Dr. Warda Saida. We will invite Chairwoman Yoon of IWPG to come forward and present the awardees with their certificates. Aya Benjamin Libo Warel, in recognition of your voluntary work and endeavor in peace building to achieve a peaceful world as a perpetual legacy for the future generations, you are hereby appointed as an advisory council to the IWPG. September 19, 2023, IWPG Chairwoman Yoon Hyun-suk. Pascal Eshowarda, the content is same as the above. Dr. Warda Saida, in recognition of your voluntary work and endeavor in peace building to achieve a peaceful world as a perpetual legacy for the future generations, you are hereby appointed as a publicity ambassador to the IWPG. September 19, 2023, IWPG Chairwoman Yoon Hyun-suk. We will all take a commemorative photo together, inviting Chairwoman Yoon to the center. Please hold a letter of appointment you received at the chest level. Smile brightly and look at the camera in front of you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's give a loud round of applause to those who have been appointed today. Next, we will move on to the IWPG Peace Achievement Award for those who demonstrated exemplary peace activities. When I call your name, please come up to the podium. Principal of St. Matthew's High School and Junior College of India, Larzi Varghese. Principal of Pakra Secondary School of Thailand, Vinuthupat Prophet. President of the IWPG Peace Support Association of Korea, Chon Wanda. We will invite Chairwoman Yoon of IWPG to come forward and present the awardees with their certificates. Arzi Varghese, the person above, is awarded the IWPG Peace Achievement Award for her dedication to supporting the peace law drafted by HWPL and participating in peace activities to realize world peace and cessation of war. September 19, 2023, IWPG Chairwoman Yoon Hyun-suk. Congratulations. Venuthafut Fafit. The content is the same as the above. Congratulations. Next is our IWPG Peace Achievement Award for Chon Wanja. The content is the same as the above. Congratulations. We will all take a commemorative photo together, inviting Chairwoman Yoon to the center. Please hold the letter of appointment you received at the chest level. Smile brightly and look at the camera in front of you. 1, 2, 3. Let's give all of them a big round of applause. We express our deepest gratitude to all those who have stood at the forefront of peace realization. I hope that you will continue to achieve many peace achievements that will be recorded in history with your unwavering passion. Let's give them another big round of applause. This ends our 2023 International Women's Peace Conference today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. IWPG will work with female leaders at home and abroad to heal the scars of war and contribute to bringing world peace. I hope that we all meet at next year's annual International Women's Peace Conference with more abundant news of peace. I hope the path you walk is always filled with a vision of peace. Thank you all for participating. Thank you very much. Everyone, if everyone can please stay seated.